Hello everyone and welcome for the first time on this channel to Assetto Corsa. I finally got around to buying this sim in the Halloween sale on Steam last week, and I've been really excited to jump into an online race to see what it's all about. Unfortunately though, as you're about to discover over the next 10 or so minutes, it was anything but an enjoyable introduction to this classic sim. In fact, I might even go as far as to say that it's my worst ever sim racing experience, and that's coming from someone who survived the iRacing rookie scene. But yeah, some of the driving standards in this race are truly awful. You've got to see it to believe it. And it's a real shame too, because the combo could be a really fun one. We've entered the simracing.gp daily race, and it's the Mini Coopers at Thruxton, my local circuit, so that made me even more excited to get to the grid. However, that excitement was soon dampened, so let's get down to the track. We're starting from 10th on the grid, and I'm actually joined in the race by two of my fellow SCB community admins, Nick and Stu. Nick's starting from 8th, so that's him right in front of me, and we get a pretty decent start as the lights go green. Now, during practice I was really struggling with the cold tyres, and in particular trying to get the car stopped into this upcoming chicane, so I deliberately eased back just a little bit. I wanted a bit of extra space and some extra room on the inside in case anyone tried a lunge, and that's exactly what happens. Look at the yellow Mini careering into the cars in front as he outbrakes himself. Just as I thought I'd avoided the worst of it, I take a big hit on the outside, then I get collected a second time, which sends me into a 360 spin, and we've got no choice but to rejoin in 14th position, just ahead of Stu. So we're currently around 4 seconds behind that pack of cars in front, but keep your eye on them because there's going to be more mayhem. As we work our way around this fast left-hander, we can see a puff of smoke ahead, and it looks like the 3 cars have been in contact, and unfortunately for Nick, he's come off worse. That was him heading onto the grass there, but it's brought us right back in touch with the drivers ahead. I'm going to pull around the outside of David Frankovic. I thought I had the pace to get alongside him and past him, but we just haven't quite got the grunt, so I back off just a little bit just to let David keep ahead of me into that turn. I didn't fancy going side by side there, but he drifts out just a little bit wide, so again I tried to pull alongside. It looks like we're carrying a little bit more speed than him. We pull up alongside, so now it's going to be a battle of the nerves. Who's the braver of the two? Who's going to brake later? Well, unsurprisingly, it wasn't me. I backed off again. But watch Frankovic, he gets it all wrong in the chicane. He almost loses control. There's more contact. That pushes us out a little bit wide, and then out of nowhere, Nick Campbell comes back to take the position. So for a fraction of a second, we've worked our way back up to 11th, but it was very short-lived. We've got Nick in 11th, me in 12th, Frankovic in 13th, and Stu in 14th. Now I'm still not convinced my tyres are up to speed, so again I'm cautious coming into this right-hander, and that lets Frankovic dive up the inside. Ran it in just a little bit too hot, and he's also wide on exit, so I'm going to have to take avoiding action here. That puts me out a little bit wider than I wanted, and I just get onto the grass, so I have to lift off the throttle just to keep the car under control, and that costs me the momentum. So now we've lost 12th position, and we've also lost about 1.5 seconds. Stu still right behind me in 14th, but watch your head. Frankovic is going to get it all wrong on exit. He's going to drift out onto the grass, and once you get out on the grass there, it's so difficult to get back on the track. We've got the power that we can surge by and retake that 12th position. Okay, let's check out a replay of the start, and we got away reasonably well, and as I said at the time, I wanted to give myself as much space as possible, and if that meant opening up a gap on the inside, then so be it. I wanted to give myself as much distance from any lap 1 carnage as I can. And actually that white and yellow Mini on the inside of me there did run in a little bit hot into this right-hander, as we see someone else from the leading pack lose it big time. But yeah, that car on the inside of me did collect a couple of others, but there was no real damage done. But then I get a side swipe in the next turn. That spins me round, and I get collected by another back marker. That was a big hit, and it spins me around in a complete 360. So we rejoin back in 14th place. We can see the incident again on board with the driver who hit me the second time, as he also gets it all wrong going into that right-hander. He manages to save it. Now there's me in front. I just get a tap on the outside. That causes me to spin. There's the hit, but no complaints from me at all. He had nowhere to go. However, we got off lightly compared to Nick, so let's rewind and watch the corner again from Nick's point of view. He runs in wide there, just about manages to get back on the track, but then he's going to get a big hit from another car rejoining on the inside right there, and it sends Nick right out onto the grass. And I said during the live action how difficult it is to get back on the track once you're on the grass. Nick found that there. He does manage to get back on the track, but unfortunately for him, he's going to get right involved with this battle, and there's going to be some more mayhem. Another big hit. They all lose control, and yeah, it's Nick who's the one who spins out and comes off the worst. We're fast forwarding to the end of the first lap now, and I managed to pull alongside Frankovic ahead of me, but I just don't quite have the bravery to see it through in the chicane. I back off. Frankovic takes the corner first, but he gets it all wrong. He rejoins. There's a big hit. That pushes me out a little bit wide. I managed to keep it on the tarmac, and then the recovering Nick Campbell storms past. Back to the live action now, and we're halfway through lap 3, and you can see in front Nick is embroiled in a battle with the most mysterious driver name you'll ever see. Our mysterious man is running way out onto the grass now, so I think I've got the pace to get around him, but he's going to rejoin, and we have to take a voided action. Yeah, we saw Frankovic run wide at the exact same spot on lap 2, and that gave us a position back. Now this is the corner before, and he's already on the grass. That's what lets Nick Campbell through. Nick's on the track there, you can just see in the background. He too gets lucky, because that rejoin could have been so much worse. You can see me in the background. I'm chasing now, and then both cars go on the grass. But this guy, yeah, he's way deeper in than Nick was, and then he rejoins right into my path, and we just get lucky enough to avoid him. But yeah, really close that was. Could have been a lot worse. At this point in the race, 5 minutes in, I'm actually still really enjoying myself. I mean, I know it's been a messy start and we've seen some reckless moves and some careless rejoins, but in reality it's nothing that you wouldn't see in any ranked race on Race Room or iRacing or any other multiplayer sim. However, in our rearview mirror there, we get our first clue that things might be about to go downhill. Look how quickly the driver behind, Bailey, caught up with me. That's because he ignored the track limits at the final chicane and just went flat out. Now, at the time, I didn't notice that, so all I saw was a lap driver trying to unlap himself, so I didn't want to put up a fight. I just left the gap open to let him through safely. In truth, I just assumed he was a fast front runner who came a cropper on lap 1 and was now charging his way back through the field, so I saw no benefit in trying to hold him up or risk a potential collision, so I let him through and just thought I'd see if I could follow him, but things start going downhill now. First of all, you can see he has a major ping issue. Now, I'm certainly not going to blame anyone for having a ping issue. We've all experienced it. It is just part and parcel of sim racing, but it does make it very tricky. Thankfully for me, I'm not battling for position with him, so I'm able just to sit a little bit further back. You can see he's vanished again there for a good couple of seconds before reappearing. Now he's going to head off onto the grass, so I'm assuming that I'm going to get back past him, but look, all of a sudden he seems to take off like a rocket, gets some speed out of nowhere and rejoins again in front of me. Now we're heading to the final chicane, so pay special attention to the line that he's taking. He's completely ignoring track limits to gas it up the inside, and unfortunately for Nick, he's going to be the innocent victim in all this. He's going to get punted right out as he crosses the start and finish line. Here we can see a replay starting with the ultra fast line that he's taking through the grass. It doesn't slow him down. In fact, he speeds up because he gains an advantage over me rejoining there and opens up an even bigger gap. Now we're going to switch to Nick's chase cam, and I've also activated the virtual mirror as well, so we can first watch the guy's line through the chicane to see how much time he makes up, and then with all that extra speed he just drives straight through Nick and sends him out of the race. That was Nick's race over. Approaching the halfway point of the race now, and I've just about caught back up with Bailey, but just in time for the final chicane where he once again takes his shortcut route. I get it a bit wrong actually, so I lose even more time, but yeah, Bailey has cleared off into the distance again with that extra fast route. But as we approach T1, we're going to see him have a massive accident. He's going to plough into the barrier, and as he comes back onto the track, we're once again going to avoid contact by the narrowest of margins. So yeah, by now I'm starting to get fed up with all these shortcuts I'm seeing. This is a replay of that route through the final chicane, and as you can see, it gives him such an advantage. I've got no chance of keeping up with him. However, yeah, this is the turn 1 crash. He's just going to run onto the grass and then hit the barrier hard, but then for some reason he's going to slam the throttle on and go right across the track just as I go past. I got really lucky again there. And the longer the race went on, the more we saw of it. This is the same driver taking the same line, and unfortunately we're going to see the same outcome as what happened to poor Nick earlier in the race. This time it's at T1, and another driver is just going to get blasted out of the way into the barrier. And just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. Here's another incident, again onto the grass. This time he's going to sweep out onto the grass on the other side of the track. He's going to go into a barrel roll, but somehow keep the gas on, go even faster, then drive through a barrier, cut the next chicane, and rejoin even further ahead. Now, I don't want it to appear like I'm singling out one driver, because in truth, several of them were at it. This is the same incident from a different angle. Now watch the car on the track. He's got a completely different route through the chicane. So here's yet another driver who's gaining valuable seconds every lap by taking an illegal route. Want another example? Well, there's loads of them. This is a lap later, and as well as the collision, we see the car in front just gas it straight through again, and then the car behind gas it right across the grass. To be honest, I could have shown you several more examples, but it's winding me up just watching them back. So let's rejoin the live action. We're racing with a couple of minutes to go now. I'm in 10th place, and I am slowly closing in on the battle for 8th and 9th, but unfortunately my race is going to come to an early end, and it's no one's fault but myself here. I get it wrong into the chicane, clip the curb, and end up slamming into the wall where I pick up some big engine damage, and as I try and rejoin, I end up getting beached on the curb. My race is done. Now, just before I go, I'm going to show you one final example of the type of shenanigans that we had to put up with. We're watching the second place driver, and this is the very last lap, but keep your eye on the guy in third. He's also going to take the shortcut route, drive completely through the barriers as well, and take second position at the line. I've watched this several times now, and I just can't understand how anyone can take satisfaction from gaining a position on the last lap in that fashion. So all in all, a really disappointing first experience of online racing in Assetto Corsa. Now, I always try and avoid publishing negative videos wherever possible, but this was such a shame because I was looking forward to it so much. I'd recorded the race fully hoping to show you a fun and enjoyable battle in a new car on a new track on a new sim, but it just wasn't to be, and I don't know where the blame lies. Do we blame the drivers for disrespecting everyone else on the grid and just taking whatever line they fancied to get the fastest lap possible? Or do we blame the race organisers? During my practice sessions, Thruxton's track limits were very much in effect. I picked up several slowdown penalties for the slightest infringements at those chicanes, but clearly those track limit rules weren't being enforced in this race today. Maybe we just need to pick and choose our online races a little bit better in future. Finally, this certainly isn't a downer on Assetto Corsa. My first impressions of the game in general are fantastic. There's so much choice, the game feels great, and I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth into it. But please do let me know what you thought of this video, whether you think I was being a bit too harsh or whether I just set my expectations too high. Maybe you've got some recommendations on other races I could try. I'd really like to hear from you. Cheers for now, guys.